You comfortable with how physical this series has been? And the other series seemed even more physical.
Well, I already got fined for supporting Cheryl, so yeah, which I think is crazy. But look, I think there's nothing that we want more than just consistency. That's what I would say.
The WNBA is at it again, huh? Another round of fines, and this time Stephanie White just got hit for basically saying, "Yeah, I agree with the other coach." Seriously, just agreeing about the refs is now a finable offense. Fever fans are absolutely furious, especially with Caitlin Clark still getting targeted every game. And honestly, the whole league looks like a total mess. Does this fine prove the league cares more about protecting refs than its star players? Because, let's be real, it's getting kind of ridiculous. The WNBA tries to brand itself as a major professional league, but the way they're policing coaches, officials, and even players' comments makes it feel more like a casual pickup game where the refs are someone's uncle. So, the Indiana Fever's coach, Stephanie White, got fined just for backing up Cheryl Reeve, who herself was suspended and hit with a $15,000 fine after she absolutely went off on the refs in Phoenix.
Bring other coaches. You're hearing Becky talk about when you let the physicality happen, people get hurt. There's fights. And this is the look that our league wants for some reason. We were trying to play through it. We tried not to make excuses. One of the best players in the league shot 0 free throws. 0. And she had 5 fouls. 0 free throws. Got her shoulder pulled out and finished the game with her leg being taken out and probably has a fracture. And so if this is what our league wants. Okay. But I want to call for a change of leadership at the league level when it comes to officiating.
But here's the kicker. White didn't even go on some big rant. She wasn't screaming at a press conference. Didn't throw a chair like Bobby Knight. She didn't even name specific officials. What she said was literally, "I already got fined for supporting Cheryl. We just want consistency." That's it. That's the huge crime. That's what earned her a nice little bill from the league office. You'd seriously think she got caught running onto the court throwing punches or something. But nope, just asking for consistent officiating.
The officiating crew that we had tonight, for the leadership to deem those 3 people semifinals playoff worthy.
So get this. The league's logic is totally wild. Reeve criticizes the refs. Fine. White agrees with Reeve. Fine. Becky Hammon just nods and says Reeve wasn't lying. Yep. Also a fine. Honestly, at this rate, if a coach just sneezes too hard while talking about fouls, that'll be $1,000. And if they dare to laugh at a bad call, boom, suspension. No wonder the Fever fan base is absolutely fuming. This isn't just about Stephanie White. You know, it's about Caitlin Clark getting absolutely targeted game after game, and the league punishes anyone who even mentions it. And let's be real, Clark has been officiated differently since her rookie year ended. She's in her 2nd year. She's stronger, she's smarter, but she still gets hammered on drives, shoved off screens, and somehow ends up being the one getting called for fouls. You don't need some elaborate conspiracy board to see it. Fans are seeing it every single night. Caitlin drives, gets hip-checked, no call, someone breathes on A.A. Wilson. Whistle, instant free throw. And when White or anyone else dares to ask for some balance, the league acts like it's straight-up slander. Can you imagine telling your paying audience, "Don't believe your own eyes. Believe us"? Because that's exactly what the WNBA is doing. But let's zoom out for a second. This isn't just a Caitlin problem. The officiating has been pretty bad across the board this season. Cheryl Reeve lost her mind for a reason, right? Her star Nfisa Collier was getting hacked to death and told to just play through it. Reeve spoke up, got punished. White agreed, got punished. Hammon said, Reve got punished. That's 3 coaches fined for the same exact issue in like a week. That's not accountability. Folks, that's just censorship. Look, fans aren't just watching games. They're all over Twitter sharing clips, comparing foul counts. And what do they see? Indiana Fever versus Las Vegas Aces. Fever shoot 34 free throws. Aces shoot 11. Becky Hammon loses it. Next day, fine. Stephanie White dares to back up a fellow coach. Fine. Meanwhile, the refs who completely botched those games, quiet promotions, and another paycheck. Where's the accountability for them? If anything, these fines just highlight how insecure the league is about its own product. Instead of actually fixing the officiating, they just muzzle the criticism, instead of protecting their biggest star. And yes, Caitlin Clark is a main driver of viewership. They protect referees who are so inconsistent you'd think they were flipping coins to decide calls. And seriously, this no criticism culture makes the league look incredibly soft. The NBA has had decades of coaches ripping refs. Greg Popovich, Phil Jackson, Pat Riley, all of them went off on officials after games. They got fined, sure, but usually for going completely nuclear, not just for saying I agree. You don't cheapen a whole fine system with these petty $1,000 handouts for casual comments. It makes the league look broke and desperate for control. And speaking of broke, fans are starting to ask a great question. Where does all this fine money even go? According to the league, it gets split between programs like WNBA Cares and community grants. That sounds nice on paper, but let's not pretend this money is actually making its way into referee development, because if it were, we'd definitely be seeing some improvement. Instead, we're seeing the same mistakes, the same inconsistency, the same fan outrage every single week. It's gotten so bad that conspiracy theories are actually gaining traction. And honestly, it's not hard to see why. Some fans truly believe that Kathy Angelbert and the league are intentionally suppressing stars like Clark by letting refs rough her up while punishing her coach for speaking out. Why? To keep the league in check financially. The logic goes that if Clark explodes too big too fast, owners get pressured to invest more things like charter flights, better salaries, TV rights. By keeping her in her place, they slow down that momentum. Do I buy it completely? Not entirely. But when you find coaches for just whispering about refs, you're definitely feeding that theory. And here's where it all circles back to the fever. Indiana has basically become the poster child for league mishandling. Clark gets beaten up. Aaliyah Boston gets hacked. Erica Wheeler gets mugged on drives. White tries to call for consistency. And boom, fine. Fans are already sick of it. They're asking why they should invest in this team. Buy tickets, wear jerseys of the league itself is handicapping. That's not just bad officiating anymore. That's sabotaging your own product. The optics just couldn't be worse. The Fever are finally competitive. They're one win away from finals. Caitlin Clark is breaking viewership records. Aaliyah Boston is putting up all-star number. And instead of celebrating all that, the headlines are all about fines. Instead of letting the storylines be about the Fever upsetting the Aces, it's about Stephanie White's checkbook. Way to market the game. WNBA fans don't chant we love fines. They chant refs. And that chant is only getting louder. Clips are circulating everywhere of Clark getting knocked to the floor with no whistle, of Boston's arms getting rad while posting up of Lexi Hall getting shoved on rebound. Fans are piling on Twitter, saying targeting Caitlin again. The refs want Vegas in the finals. Kathy protecting her favorites. Whether it's true or not, perception really, really matters. And right now, that perception is just ugly. What's even worse is how predictable it all feels. Everyone knew Reeve would get fined after her outburst. Everyone guessed Hammon would too. Everyone joked White would get tagged for even agreeing, and then it actually happened. Fans shouldn't be predicting league punishments like it's some reality TV show. That's how unserious the league look. And let's not ignore the bigger risk here. Alienating your star. Caitlin Clark is the biggest draw this league has ever seen. More than Diana Taurasi, more than Maya Moore, more than Subbard, she's a ratings magnet. She's selling out arenas on the road. And instead of protecting her from being hacked every single night, the league fines her coach for defending her. What kind of message does that send? Shut up and take the abuse. Good luck with that long term. Players talk, agents talk. If stars start to believe the league doesn't care about their safety or fair treatment, you've got a problem that no amount of fine money can ever cover. Clip 4.
About going to Aaliyah the second half. What was, I guess, difficult about containing her? I know you guys kind of touched on a few things, maybe with the the foul calls, but what made it successful for them to keep going to her tonight?
I don't know. You're going to have to ask Aaliyah that question. I honestly, you just do your work. You got to do your work early and make it different. But Aaliyah did say I have a special whistle. And she shot 13 today. Yeah. Yeah. She said the last game I had a special whistle, which is cool. So we just got to play their better defense, make her look a little difficult, and kind of go from there.
And while we're here, let's just call out the hypocrisy. Becky Hammon is furious about free throw discrepancies now, but where was all that energy when her aces were getting favorable whistles all season long? Where was the outrage when Clark couldn't get a call to save her life against Vegas earlier this year? Now that the shoe's on the other foot, suddenly the refs are incompetent. Welcome to Indiana's world, Becky.
That's very interesting.
Megan had 4.
What? Oh my God, that's interesting. That's what I was looking at. But we'll do better. We gotta play better defense.
By interesting, you mean that shit?
Yeah, I can't say that because I got a brand to protect. But
You say it, I have no brand.
yeah, it's interesting. But we'll be better.
The thing is, this whole fine spree is even crazier because coaches aren't even saying anything groundbreaking. They're literally just echoing what fans are already seeing. We need consistency. We need accountability. Just the basics. Instead, the league acts like refs are these sacred cows. You criticize them, and you're treated like a criminal. Meanwhile, fans are left screaming at their TVs, asking, how is that not a foul? Here's the reality. This problem doesn't just go away with silence. Muzzling coaches only makes fans even more convinced that the league is hiding something. If refs were actually evaluated, if mistakes were admitted publicly, people would move on. But the WNBA refuses transparency. They act like bad calls never happened. And when anyone points it out, boom, fine. That's not professionalism. That's just insecurity. And Indiana Fever fans, they are absolutely reaching their breaking point. It's one thing to fight through growing pains, to lose because you're simply outplayed. It's another to feel like the league itself is tilting the floor against you. The Fever are finally relevant again. And instead of celebrating, fans feel like they're battling both opponents and the referees. And when their coach tries to advocate for them, she gets fined. That's a total slap in the face. What's crazy is when a league starts finding coaches for breathing the wrong way in post-game pressers. It creates an image problem far bigger than any misfoul. The WNBA keeps telling the world it's growing, expanding, building momentum. But what casual fan tunes in sees a coach get fined for saying consistency and thinks, yeah, that's the league for me. Nobody. Fans aren't dumb. You know, they compare leagues. They've watched NBA coaches rip refs to shreds and still coach the next night. They've seen NFL coaches scream about holding calls. MLB managers kick dirt on umpires. Sports thrive on emotion. It's part of the theater. But the WNBA wants everyone to act like robots. Say nothing, show nothing, challenge nothing. And in doing so, they're actually strangling their own product. And the funniest part, finding white doesn't even solve the problem. It doesn't suddenly make referees look competent. It doesn't erase all the bad calls fans have already clipped and posted online. It definitely doesn't make Caitlin Clark's bruises go away. All it does is confirm that the league is more worried about protecting refs' feelings than protecting its stars. That's just completely backwards. And let's be honest, this is absolutely going to backfire. Fever fans are already some of the most passionate in the WNBA. They've been showing up, buying merch, filling arenas. They'll defend Clark like she's family. Now you slap their coach with a fine. You just handed them a massive rallying cry. Expect every Fever home game to turn into a boo fest for refs. Every bad call is going to spark chants of Kathy suck. The league literally invited that. And speaking of Kathy Angel Burt, this whole fine circus puts her front and center. She's a commissioner. She signs off on all of this. She's the one sending the message that criticism isn't allowed. But she can't hide behind policy, for fans want accountability from the refs, not silence from the coaches. If anything, her obsession with image control is actually doing more damage to the WNBA brand than 1,000 angry Cheryl Reeve press conferences ever could. And let's not overlook the irony here. The league constantly cries about wanting more media coverage, more eyeballs, more engagement. Well, guess what? You finally have it. Thanks to Caitlin Clark, Aaliyah Boston, and the Fever's rise. And instead of celebrating, you're finding your way into bad prep. Every headline is about fines, not about the basketball. That's self-sabotage, plain and simple. Here's the truth. The refs didn't cost the Aces every loss, and they didn't hand the Fever every win. Indiana played their tails off. Boston was dominant. Erica Wheeler hit big shots. Clark, even when targeted, found ways to impact the game. That's basketball. But when refs insert themselves into the story and the league doubles down with these fines, it completely overshadows the product on the floor. And this constant targeting of Caitlin Clark is the league's biggest blind spot. She's not a rookie anymore. She's in year 2. She's proven she belongs. Proven she's a franchise player. Proven she's the reason millions are watching. Yet game after game, she gets officiated like a benchworm. Fans see it. Opposing players know it. And when her coach tries to defend her, she's punished. That is absolutely not how you build around your superstar. What the league should have done is simple. Admit the refs are inconsistent. Promise improvement and let coaches vent. That's normal. That's professional sports. Instead, they chose the clown route. Punish fine. Pretend everything's fine, but nothing's fine. Fans are furious. Players are frustrated. Coaches are muzzled. The only ones happy are the refs who just walk away untouched. At some point, the WNBA has to realize this no criticism allowed policy isn't saving them. It's actually destroying their credibility because every fine makes fans less likely to trust refs, less likely to trust the league, and more likely to believe in all these conspiracy theory. You don't build trust by silencing voices. You build it by owning mistakes until they learn that this cycle is just going to keep repeating. So, here we are again. Another fine, another mess, and another reason fans are shaking their heads at the W. Stephanie White spoke up for consistency, and the league slapped her down. Fever fans are boiling. Caitlin Clark is still taking hits, and the refs keep skating.